blood clots, and bones heal. Suck it up, Buttercup. Now I know what you're thinking, this guy's gonna make a great therapist. No, really, those words aren't something you expect to hear or want to hear from your physical therapist. In fact, those are more words that you think you hear from a drill sergeant, which is something that I had the pleasure of encountering 12 years ago when I enlisted in the U.S. Army and was stationed in Fort Benning, Georgia. Now, basic training was challenging. I'm not sure which part I found harder, the physical or mental aspect. But picture yourself thrown into an unfamiliar environment. You're surrounded by strangers for 21 weeks, and so you're trying to find your place among all these new soldiers, trying to figure out where you fit, all the while you have a drill sergeant making your life a nightmare. For 75% of the basic training process, I found myself confused, frustrated, physically and mentally exhausted. And I'm sure you've all heard the stories. Drill sergeants yelling in your face, screaming at you, waking you up at 3 in the morning, followed up by 2-mile runs, doing push-ups until muscle failure, or getting time limits, 1 minute to eat your dinner. It can be exhausting, but as I've found throughout most of the experiences in my life, everything is always worse when you're actually in it. It's not until you've had time to sit back, reflect, and look back on those experiences that you can truly appreciate them. So I just have a quick story. It was one night basic training, about 2 a.m. We were sleeping, my platoon was asleep in the barracks, and I want you to picture Full Metal Jacket, if any of you've seen them. It's a big, large, rectangular room. They've got the bunks lining the outside of the room and an open middle area. So the drill sergeants come yelling, they come crashing in one night. They're yelling, flicking the lights, "Wake up, privates, wake up." Apparently, earlier in the day, we had done something that we're fond of, and it was now time to, quote unquote, get smoked. So, as we stood there at attention at the foot of our bunks, our platoon leader, he's essentially our class representative, goes into the drill sergeant's office, and he's quick. He's in, he's out. But we noticed on the way out, he's got a flustered look on his face, he's frantically taking down notes, and he comes to the front of the barracks, and he's yelling to us, "Okay, everyone, we need you guys to put a black sock on your left foot, a white sock on your right foot. I want you to put on your PT shirt with your winter BDU pants. You need a black pencil or a black pen in your left hand, a pencil in your right. Make sure you put on your PT cap, or was it your Class A cap? Oh, I can't remember. Just put this stuff on. We got 2 minutes." So this is when the frustration, confusion break out. We're all half asleep. People are yelling, "What goes on what foot? I can't find my pencil." It gets pretty hectic. And so this is just a classic example of some of the mental challenges we face during basic. 2 minutes later, everyone's dressed. We've all got different clothes on, but we're all wearing the same face, irritation. And as we stand at the foot of our bunks at attention, we're waiting for the drill sergeant to inspect us. So he comes out in the barracks, gives us one look, shakes his head, yells, "Wrong, 50 push-ups, try again." So this seemed to go on all night. And our platoon leader, who had given us the original directions, he was a young kid at the time. He was only 18 years old. He had just literally that day been assigned this leadership position, and he clearly wasn't ready for the stresses. Because at one point, he actually broke down and started crying. So you've got him crying, you've got people yelling, everything's falling apart. And finally, we came to the decision, let's just all put the same clothes on, and the same body parts, regardless of what the initial instructions were. And, I mean, at that point, we doubted the drill sergeants even remember themselves, because so much time had passed by. So again, we're standing at attention at the foot of our bunks. The drill sergeant comes out, and finally we had done something right. And our reward, 2 hours of sleep. So that night, especially, I hated my drill sergeants. But looking back on it, they really taught us a great deal. Attention to detail, communication, teamwork. So during basic training of the soldiers, none of us really knew why, or we didn't really understand why they had us doing these quote-unquote senseless acts. But by the end, those senseless acts It actually made us stronger, both physically, mentally. It turned us into a cohesive team. We worked well together and we learned to communicate well. The process worked. Now, during this past year and a half, I've had my concerns. I've asked myself questions like, is this something that we really need to learn to be a physical therapist? Or how can they possibly expect us to memorize or learn all this material? But of course I would know, because I've been immersed in this program for all of 18 months. I'm an expert on this, right? I should know what's relevant, what we should or shouldn't be learning. But wait, we have a professor on staff who's actually been a physical therapist for 50 years, or just about 50 years. So rest assured, I'm certain that our faculty has prepared us well, just as my drill sergeants did in basic training. Sometimes you just need to trust the process. So right now, we're finishing up a difficult, if not the most difficult, academic semester of the physical therapy program. The finals are approaching. They're causing stress. This is compounded by the fact that we're starting our first clinical rotation January 6th. So that means we have to memorize, relearn all those special tests, the concepts, and that's going to be a daunting task. But I have confidence in our program, I have confidence in our professors, confidence in myself, and confidence in my classmates. I'm confident that this upcoming clinical is just going to be a stepping stone to many successful careers. And it's been my pleasure taking this journey with you guys.